We're back. We're back. New episode. SmackDown. Let's see what SmackDown does. I don't have to talk this time, so I'm just gonna let Best Beast take the reins. Like, subscribe, all that bullshit. Uh, all right.
It's just
Take it away.
such a peaceful way of going about things. For starters, I forgot to mention at the end of last week, but the top three women currently in the women's Intercontinental title tournament. In first place is Asuka with 15 points. In second place is Jade Cargill with 12 points. And in third place is Io Sky with 11 points. With that said, let's get started tonight. Seth Rollins opens the show and says, "At Clash at the Castle, Karrion Kross took the most important thing in the world to me, and as of now, it seems like I have to wait in line for my rematch, and to be completely honest, I do not feel like waiting. Drew, I understand you were given the right to the title match upon your return, but I am also entitled to a title rematch. So Big E, tell me what I need to do to get in that rematch." Big E then comes out and says, "Seth, I understand you want your rematch, but I need you to understand that putting you and Drew in the same ring together is a recipe for disaster." Seth says he doesn't care what happens. As long as he has a shot at regaining his title, then he will suffer the consequences. Big E says, "Fine. Well, luckily for you, I have someone else who wants to get their name back in the hat for the world title. So you'll be having a match right now against." And then at that point, Swerve Strickland's music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. We open the show with Seth versus Swerve. Towards the end of the match, Swerve is in position to hit the house call when Cody Rhodes comes down to the ring and starts arguing with Swerve. They argue for a moment before Swerve just dismisses Cody and goes to charge in for the house call. As Swerve charges in, Cody swipes Swerve's legs, tripping him up. Swerve, now laying down on the mat, just looks over to Cody as Seth gets up and curb stomps Swerve Strickland as he's looking at Cody. Seth rolls Swerve over and covers him for the 1, 2, 3, earning himself a spot in the match at SummerSlam for the world title. Seth Rollins wins. Karrion Kross is watching the match end between Swerve and Seth when Drew McIntyre comes into frame. Kross says, "Drew, my good pal, how are you? You know, I was just watching Seth get his name into our match at SummerSlam at a triple threat. Now, I know you and Seth don't see eye to eye, but Drew, I need you to understand that I am not to be taken lightly either. There's a reason I hold this title. It's not because I lucked into this. I planned this and I executed. Now I can see you're pissed, so I'll let you stew on your thoughts of Seth already screwing you over again by making it a triple threat." And Cross walks off as Drew just stands there fuming, watching Seth celebrate. Phenomenal Egos are then seen celebrating their title retention when they get confronted by the New Day. Well, it says, "You guys have to be the scummiest of tag teams in wrestling today. You take our titles by cheating, then you retain the titles by cheating yet again. You call yourself the Phenomenal Egos, but to me, you're just a couple of phenomenal jackasses." AJ says, "Look, I don't know what you're talking about. Last week we won fair and square." Well, it says, "AJ, have you not seen the footage?" AJ says, "What footage? The one where I beat you with the 450? Well, it says, "So you didn't see Paige holding down my feet." AJ then looks to Paige and Ethan says, "Look, you guys are just trying to get yet another rematch, and it's not going to happen. If you want the rematch, then you have to earn it." And then Ethan takes AJ away. Damage Control are then seen speaking about the Women's Intercontinental Tournament, and Dakota speaks about how there's just a few weeks left in the tournament, and both Io and Asuka are in good standing to have the title shot at Bad Blood. Io says, "It has been a great tournament, and tonight I plan to continue to rise in the ranks. Now, if you don't mind, I must head to the ring for my next match." Cameras then cut over to Zaruka speaking about their match last week. Sol apologizes for beating Zarya, and then Zarya says, "What are you sorry about? We are both in this tournament to win it. There's no reason to be sorry for going out there and giving it your all. Just make sure you do the same tonight against Io." Sol says she will, and make sure you do the same when you go one-on-one with Jade later tonight. Zarya says she will. They hug, and Sol heads towards the ring. Io Sky versus Sol Ruka. Io Sky wins the match via submission, earning herself 5 points in the tournament. We cut backstage to Swerve Strickland throwing things around backstage looking for Cody. When he finally sees him, he charges at him. Just as he gets close, Cody nails Swerve in the midsection with a bat. Cody then bends down and gets close to Swerve and says, I am tired of being on the back burner. And unfortunately for you, Swerve, I'm going to be using you as my stepping stone back into the limelight. So you better hope you didn't burn too many bridges, because once I am done with you, you're going to have to crawl and beg for your old job back. Cody then drops the bat and walks away. Kevin Owens is then interviewed about what might be awaiting him at SummerSlam. Owens says, this whole match is stupid. I mean, at Clash it was either kill or be killed, and I am not done with my career yet. Braun's young. He will recover, I'm sure of it. Sure, he's going to have to spend an unknown amount of time on the shelf, but at the end of the day, he will be back. If the roles were reversed, that may be the end of my career. So now Big E has me in matches each and every week trying to take away opponents from my match at SummerSlam. I think tonight I have to deal with the one that jumps real high. I don't even know his name, but I'll make sure he is not in the match at SummerSlam. Kevin then heads down to the ring. Kevin Owens versus Javon Evans. Kevin Owens wins. As Kevin exits up the ramp, he has a noticeable limp. Just to keep that in mind. Mercedes Moné is interviewed about the match seemingly set for SummerSlam between her and Cora for the women's title. Mercedes says, Kathy, I spent the past few months kind of surveying the women's division, the women's SmackDown division, and I think it's time to show everyone who the best female in this division is. Cora's had a nice reign, and like she said last week, she has beaten some reputable names. But come SummerSlam, she has to beat me. And unfortunately for her, it seems like the wear and tear of being champion is starting to set in. So Cora, I will do you a favor. I'll take that burden off your shoulder and let you sit back and enjoy the view of a proper women's champion who will take this division to the heights you could only dream of. Mercedes and Team Bad walk away. Sami Zayn and Bronson Reed are speaking about the main event in their locker room. Bronson gets a phone call and steps out for a moment. Sami is then seen just taping his fist when Bloodline Wolfpack run in and attack Sami, with Solo just kind of directing the troops in the distance. The beatdown lasts for a couple of minutes, and Sami gets thrown into lockers, into the TV, and ends with Sami being put through a table. Bloodline Wolfpack then leaves, and Bronson sees them leave and rushes back into the locker room and yells for help as he sees Sami. Cameras cut back to the ring for Jade Cargill versus Arya, another match in the women's IC tournament. Jade Cargill wins this match via submission, earning herself 5 points. Cameras cut backstage. Big E is there with medics checking on Sami, and Big E calls off the main event for tonight, and Bronson and Sami leave in an ambulance. Ricochet then arrives with the Authors of Pain and says, well, it seems like you need a main event tonight, and I have the perfect idea. You see, the New Day have probably already contacted you about another shot at the tag. I think my men here also deserve another crack at it. So how about tonight AOP takes on the New Day. Whoever wins gets the match at SummerSlam against the Phenomenal Egos. Big E says, you know what? That sounds great. I'll notify the New Day to get ready for a match. Actually, I'm going to retroactively fix something. We're setting a matchup for next week for the tag titles, not for SummerSlam. Anyways, we head down to the AOP heads down to the ring. New Day head down to the ring. Number one contenders match for the tag titles. Towards the end of the match, Ethan Page comes down to the ring and pulls Kofi off the apron just as Woods was going for a tag. Page throws Kofi into the timekeeper's area. The referee during this was distracted by Ricochet. Woods, who now doesn't have a tag partner, slowly gets up and gets just simply mauled by the Authors of Pain, and the Authors of Pain pick up the win, earning themselves a tag title shot for next week.
Nice breezy episode. Less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think next week's also kind of in the same boat.
Oh, we didn't even have to split them apart, but fuck it.
It's fine. Like I said, shorter, so people can digest it a little bit quicker. What
The one
happens at
person who
no?
watches,
Exactly.
if anyone. Alright.
Alexis